Hey guys, so in this video I'm gonna install or show you how to install the Gentoo Linux on your system. Now, first things first is Gentoo is not for everybody, that's for sure, but it's not stopping the new users from installing Gentoo. And I believe most of the users, new users, they think that Gentoo is a very hard distro, or they're quite intimidated with the installation process. That is true. However, Gentoo actually found out that you can install using a live distro, or you're in my case now, let me just show you. I am installing Gentoo on my running art system. Now, of course, you cannot just overwrite this system now. Instead, we're gonna install it on a separate hard drive. So, first things first is head to the handbook. Now, this looks like quite long, but if you're using already you don't have to go here, the installation media, you don't have to download and boot all this kind of stuff, and then if you use this one, then you will have only a terminal. You don't have a browser or a file explorer, this is a non-GUI, so you will type a lot. That's why I suggest that you install using a live Linux distro, Ubuntu, Mint, Fedora, anything which offers a live OS or live distro. But you can also just install, if you have a separate hard drive, or if you have a extra space, extra partition, you can also install Gentoo on it. The positive things of doing that is you will have a browser at the same time while doing a compilation. You can use your system still. You can watch video, you can listen to music, you can go through the Gentoo wiki, all these kind of things. So first things first is, of course, I'm gonna prepare my, let me just zoom it. I think this is already zoom, yeah. First things first is preparing the partitioning. Now I'm using my system is UEFI, so I'm gonna install a UEFI, and I'm gonna install a Gentoo with systemd. I already have Gentoo on my system. However, I'm planning to build another one from scratch, because then I'm gonna really trim it down to my liking. So first things is prepare the drive that wanted to use. Now I know that I have this extra SSD, which is a 250 gigabyte. And first thing is I'm gonna switch over to sudo or root user, because then you don't have to you need to be on sudo basically, because you need to be on root user at all times, most of on the installation process here. So what was again, so it's SDD. So first things first is prepare your hard drive. I'm gonna use here a CF disk, dev SDD. Now the thing in here, they are on the wiki, they use the F disk, but the CF disk for me is like easier, because then you have this graphical, so you don't have to be really you will not get lost. So first thing is I'm gonna assign a EFI partition, and I'm gonna assign a 800 megabytes for the boot partition, and I'm gonna assign a swap partition, and I'm just gonna assign a 80 gigabyte for the root partition because this is just easier, and the rest later on you can use it as your shared partition or data, all this kind of things. Now before you write, you need to make sure to change the type. So in my case, the SDD1 is EFI system, and then of course the SDD3 is the swap. Now before you exit, right? So I'm gonna say yes. So it's SDD, that's BLK. So this SDD, now we got the necessary partition that I wanted. So going down here, now this is for if you have the legacy BIOS or non-UEFI, creating file system. Now on my system, I'm planning to use a ext4 on my boot partition, and I'm gonna use a btrfs on my root partition because I'm used to btrfs already. So first is the UEFI, so mkfs dot bfat capital F32 then STD1. Okay, then STD2, I'm gonna my root partition, like I said, I'm gonna use a ext4 dev STD2. Yes, STD2. Hold on. Yeah. Okay. And then that STD3 is where my swap is. MK swap dev STD3, and then I'm gonna use btrfs on my root partition. Okay, so before going in here, I need to make a sub-volume first for your btrfs. So let me just see again. STD4 is where the root partition. So we need to mount this first. Mount tab STD4 to MNT. So because we need to create a sub-volume. So cd MNT. So btrfs to create a sucr at. So created sub-volume at, and I'm gonna the sub-volumes, necessary sub-volumes. The necessary sub-volumes are, of course, the at or the how can I say this? This the root partition or root btrfs sub-volume, which is at, and then home. And you can actually create sub-volume however you want or customize it however you want. And in my case, I've been using all the time this separate with the var, and opt. This is for like a third-party application. And then later on, I'm planning to use a snapshots, a what's that, snapper on my system later on. So ls is, we have this at home, pt, opt, snapshot, and var. That's just about it. So now we can change it back, and we need to mount the MNT. this style that I'm doing now is not mentioned in the wiki. However, this is what I'm used to my arts. So let's just say lsblk. So you could see here that this is now my art system. All right. So we need to mount first the root partition, and need to mount it. We need to assign a any mounting points. No a time discard equals async space cache equals v2 then also compress equals cstd, because I want a compression with a level 4. Compress equals cstd, and what else? You don't need to assign ssd, but okay, I can assign, and then subvolume equals alt, and then space dev. First things first is we need to make this one. Okay, now let's do that on other terminal. But I believe I already have this Gentoo. So see, I already have it, a mnt Gentoo. But let's just remove this rmdir. I believe that's the command. cd mnt. Let's just delete this. rm, no, let's make sudo rm only Gentoo. Oh, it's a directory, then need to, yeah. So now it's removed, there's nothing. Now we need to create this. So sudo, this is just showing you. So now I have again this Gentoo in here, so you can quit this. Let's move it here. So now where am I? Here, mounting. It was SDD4. SDD4. Now we need to mount it on Gentoo. It's like here. Now we are on this part mounting the root partition. Okay, so now we have mounted the subvolume at. So again, we need to mount it the rest of the subvolumes, which is these things. So arrow up, can just, at home, and then in here, of course, we need to mount it on a separate partition. Subvolume. Why? Mount point. Of course, we need to create a directory with it. mkdir, that is on nmt Gentoo. This bracket, we need to create a boot home var opt and dot snapshots. I believe, now I forgot this. Okay, so it should be there already. going back again. So now it's mounted. So var, let's make it a little bit here, var, and then opt. Now this is what I'm doing is only for the btrfs, and I'm mounting all the necessary subvolumes. If you use for the ext4, then of course just follow what the wiki says. That's snapshots. So lsplk. Now these two are mounted. Now we can mount later on. Here. Now we can mount later on the boot. Actually, I can mount now the boot. Mount dev. Where is that? This is sdd2. sdd2 mnt Gentoo boot. So there you go. Later on, once we chroot into the system, then we can we can put the swap and of course the std1, which is the EFI partition that I created earlier. So we're gonna skip all this. As I said, we're gonna mount later on once we chroot the system. If you need to separate, now let's go with this. Now for this, for example, the date, if the date is correct, date now is March 22, 10:50. This is local time, which is fine. If you need to, then you can go through this. If the date and time is wrong, then you go all these kind of things. Now choosing a stage 3 tarball. So we can go with this tarball. It can go through here. I'm gonna use as systemd, like I said. So first is downloading the tarball. So you can just cd/mnt Gentoo. Now we need to use the wget. If you don't have, if in your running system doesn't have wget, of course you need to install the wget first. And with this, so go with the graphical browsers. So as I said, it's a desktop profile. Multi-lib, don't go this if you're planning for a no multi-lib. If you're planning for a multi-lib, non 32-bit, only 64-bit, then go with here. But since in here, for example, the desktop profile, it's too bad it doesn't mention here. I'm planning to install a hyperland on Gentoo, and so I'm gonna use the systemd merged-usr, because this is now the new system. This was before. However, if you don't use the merge system, desktop profile, here, desktop profile, which is a little bit big. Later on, it should be mentioned here. We can go through that one later, but I'm gonna use now this desktop profile systemd. So we need to copy the link, and then we need to use the wget. So we are now on the mnt Gentoo wget. Alright, so it's downloading now the system. Now it's a little bit slow. So this is from the, looks like from the Japanese mirror, which is fine. I'm in South Korea, so. But anyway, it's not that slow. So we're just gonna wait for this. And if you also go with the with the minimum ISO. Now you can follow this. However, that's why I wanted, or I recommend that you use a running distro, live distro, because then you have a browser. At the same time, you have a you are using a system. You can use your system for watching movie, listening to music, when during the compilation. It's just easier for to just copy paste also the command, so you won't miss out any of the commands. I'm not gonna go through the verifying and validating. I believe this is a good copy. I hope. But of course, if you worry about the security, then please go through the verify. So next one is unpacking the tarball. Just gonna copy this, and let's wait until it's so you can while if you have a live ISO, you can actually verify the files. So now it's in here, so it's downloading here on the stage 3, which is good. It's going up and down, up and down, up and down. Now if you're never mind, I was gonna mention about the source mirrors, because if your download is too slow, you can go to your local mirror and then download it from there, or get the link from there. You know what, it's better if we do that, because then we will also should get the no. Second left. Okay, so now the Turbo stage 3 is already download. If you want to go through, by the way, I'm installing it from stage 3. If you want to really customize Gentoo, then better with the stage 1 or stage 2, and that's like different or another level. Alright, that's great. So now it's unpacking the stage tarball. Now there is a reason why I choose a desktop profile, because it should be here. Let's see the eSelect profile, which should be mentioned on the eSelect profile. Let me just search profile, choosing the right profile. So desktop profiles are not exclusive for desktop environment. They are still suitable for minimal window managers like i3 or i4. So that's the thing. That's the reason why I choose the that image. Anyway, you can always change it using the eSelect profile command later on. So where is that now? Booting. 8. Still installing the stage tarballs. Alright, so we already unpack. Now we need to go to the make.conf, because then we need to I can say this is for the compiling. for the C flags, for example here GCC optimization, and the save C flags. So for example, you can go through the my system. I have a Ryzen family, which is I have a 5950X, so we can use this command here or use these options here. However, I found out before that here merge equals cnvar, you can go through here. However, I found out before that having a native actually is much better, much easier on my opinion. And then while we are in here, we can actually now configure the make.conf. For example, capital make ops equals now this is according for your, this is depending on your number of cores or number of threads on your system. Gentoo Wiki recommends that as a general rule of thumb, one thread equals to 2 GB. This is for during the compilation, so it will not hang. And I have a 32 thread 64 GB on my system, so I'm gonna assign here a J32 because I have, general rule 2 GB. But if you have a less threads, let's say you have a 4 cores, then you need to put here a J4. Now if you don't want also to use if you don't want it to use all the cores, because then you want it to have like a extra cores for your system while using it, then you can also do that. That's the good thing about having the Gentoo. Now I'm not gonna dig in more into this make ops because I believe Mental Outlaw, he have a good video about this make ops. And while I'm here, I'm just gonna go ahead now, because then later on when I compile a system, I'm gonna go ahead with the usage, all this kind of thing. So as I mentioned earlier, I want to do hyperland, and hyperland is WLAN, and of course I wanted systemd because I choose the SMD systemd. Now while you're here, you can actually now assign the things or the packages that you don't want. For example, I don't have DVD. I'm not using a DVD anymore, and I don't want KDE. I don't want GNOME, for example, and I don't want also NVIDIA. I don't want that. While you're here also, I don't have a Thunderbolt, so I don't want Thunderbolt. I don't want as well the Qt web engine. Now if you are a web developer, I'm sure you need this one, or you don't put this one. And of course I don't want as well the Plasma, for example. I don't want also the Nove. This is the open source driver for the NVIDIA. And then I'm just gonna accept license already. License, it's not mentioned on the wiki here, but I'm just going ahead. They just mentioned here about the make ops. But while I'm already here, why not just go through and customize the make.conf. So I'm just gonna accept any license. I'm not a free, or I accept proprietary if needed. Proprietary, I'm gonna use proprietary. It's my system. And then of course I'm gonna go with a global accept keywords. I'm gonna go with a global AMD 64. Yeah, if you want it really stable, of course it's better not to use this, or it's just, if you put this, then you will also get the unstable packages, not the 999 packages. That's a different thing. And while we are already here, of course I'm gonna assign the let's say the video cards, for example. I have the AMD GPU, and here I'm planning to use GRUB later on, so I'm gonna just platforms. You know what? It will be mentioned anyway later in there. Platform, GRUB platform. I'm gonna explain later on once we go through the wiki. EFI-64, and of course let's just initially for now, yeah, let's just finish that. Control O, Control X. Now we are ready for CH routing. Selecting mirrors. If you're using the what do you call this, the minimal ISO provided by Gentoo, this you can. However, it is safe to skip this step when using a non-Gentoo. So I'm using a Arch, which is a non-Gentoo. I'm gonna skip this. So, and then we can create this, configure the pattern, blah blah blah. So it's gonna go that, and then next copy the general provided by the newly created one, which is already on this to this. Let's copy that. Alright, so it should be already here. So take a quick peek. Let's take a quick peek. Very good, so it's there. Now we need to copy the DNS info then, because then this is just to make sure that you have an internet connection on your Gentoo once you are CH root. And like I said earlier, this is the benefit of having a browser. There's a lot of things that you needed to type, so in order not to make mistake, why not just copy all this, so you will not forget all these kind of things. Copy everything. Now if you don't install a non-systemd, then so it's written here, the make art slave options are needed for systemd support. So I have a systemd, or I wanted a systemd, so I'm gonna put the systemd here. And the warning, when using an engine, this might be not sufficient. However, I don't think I have the dev. Okay, never mind. I don't have a dev CHM. So if you mount this, for example, it will mention here that the dev SHM is not a exist. So doesn't hurt anyway. Now we need to chroot into your Gentoo. Alright, now at this point you are now in your Gentoo system. Now it says here we need to mount the boot partition. I believe I already mounted. Now we can mount now the swap. So swap on dev std3, and of course need to mount the EFI system, because later on when you install the grub bootloader, then you need this partition. Again, this is different if you didn't create the EFI partition, then don't have to do this. Mount std2. Oh, I don't think there is a EFI. Yeah, there is no EFI folder, so we need to create a folder first or mount for the EFI to mount. So it's already there. So let's mount this. Mount dev std1 boot EFI. Alright. So EFI partition is already installed. Boot, swap, and all the necessary subvolumes needed. Alright. So configuring the Portage again. Let's wait, because no, it doesn't mention here. Installing the Gentoo from the source web. This will fetch the latest snapshot. So go ahead and let's do this part. Invalid repository. Section Gentoo in the repository has location attribute non-existent. Bar defaults. Really? Let's see this. It's in var. It is. So not a directory. Bar defaults. So for example, where is that now? Here. What was that? What's it complaining? Bar db repo. It is a directory. Let me see here if it does mention there anything about it's already there. At this point you can just ignore this eSelect for now. During this operation might complain about missing blah blah blah, so it's expected and nothing to worry about. Okay, which is good. Now we need to merge sync, do updating the Gentoo build. Oh, reading the news item. Not gonna read all this. You're welcome to read all this news select blah blah blah, or let me just go through blah blah blah. Oh, one thing I don't like about is still using the rsync. I think it's better if we switch to Portage Git, which is just faster. Portage with Git. Absolute eSelect and Git must be eSelect repository, and Git must be installed. Using the Git is actually faster because this rsync is it's just too slow, in my opinion, even though you have a fast connection, fast internet. And I think it's already there. I mean, we can try. It's just way too slow. Git, for example. I don't think it's already, it's there. Can't load module. So see, we need to have the eSelect repository installed. I'm not gonna do that now. You can do this later on because it's already synced. So reading the news item, it's in here. eSelect news list. So migration, upgrade. So here the merged-usr. Can do that later on. So now we go with the right profile. I'm just gonna clear here. Profile. So you select profile list. So I have here the I should be here actually, the merged-usr, because they actually select profile set. See, select profile set. This is on 13. Okay. So now it's on merged-usr. Holy crap. I think it will be an issue here later on with the merged-usr because we downloaded a different profile, and we just go through this one first. So merged-usr, we need to install this. It's too bad it's not on the download page. So merged-usr, migrating to usr vim. It's too bad. I'm just gonna see here. Choices, system D merged-usr, but there's no desktop profile. Ugh. Which sucks. So see, it's not the 32-bit. No multi-lib. Say there is a system for no multi-lib merged-usr, but there's no desktop profile for the merged-usr. Merged-usr. So if we, this is too bad. This is one thing I don't like about Gentoo. It's their wiki is not really great. Anyway, so we are already on the merged-usr, and then it's already here. Replace, symlink, all this kind of things. Ugh, I don't like this. Updating the world set. Now, before you go through, before you run this command, see in here, configuring the use variable is what I did already earlier. All this, adding this kind of things. So let's just go ahead and check. So I already typed earlier the make.conf, which is J32. My system now is J32, and I'm recording it on my laptop, so it's just faster compilation. And then usage is, I already have this WLAN, systemd, and then I don't want all this kind of things. Now, of course, I mentioned earlier I have already a Gentoo on my system. Let me just show you. My Portage.conf is etc. Sorry, Portage. My make.conf is already. Let's see here. I have it already in here, or I already customized the way I want, but I want it like too ground up because my use flags here, they are quite clogged, I believe. It's not supposed to be in there, but it's there. So I'm not gonna use all that now. So if you're satisfied with all this, CPU flags, for example, let's just carry out this first before we run the updating the world set. So I'm just gonna install that one. And CPU ID flag if curious, so it's there, and we go through this echo, so it should be already on this folder. So if we need to have a quick check, you can use the cut command, which is already in there. Video cards, for example. So where's that now? Yeah, video cards, I already assigned it earlier. Video cards, and then the accept license, I already accept everything. You can go with the free or binary, redistributable, all this kind of thing. So it's mentioned on here, the group name, optional. Okay, so we already assigned the video cards, license, use flag. Now we're gonna start compiling the base system. So that will be the here, this one. This will take some time depending on which profile you have used. This will just update everything. So it's a quick inspection. E-build is scheduled for merge, build, conflict, 143 packages, and this is what, 1 gigabyte. Gotta also update the necessary here. Cups, I don't like cups on my system. So I'm just gonna wait, because I'm not gonna use a printing support on my system. I have it on my laptop. All right. So minus cups is there. minus the cloud providers. I'm gonna add this to the use flag. Actually, I think yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead with this compilation. Okay, so this would take some time. Now the time is what, 11:23. I'm just gonna go out, have a walk, watch movie, blah blah blah. I mean, do whatever you want to do. So I'm gonna post a video first, and then I just come back once it's already installed. All right, see you later. Now, while you're here, by the way, if you please subscribe, hit that subscribe for me, hit the like as well. So these YouTube videos, I'm just doing it during my free time, and if I feel like sharing you guys some information, gonna do that. But in order for me to be more motivated and sharing more, would appreciate if keep hitting that like button, and of course subscribe to my channel, so it will be good. It's free and it wouldn't hurt you. Alright guys, I'll be back.